What's going on with everybody, man? All right. Well, we're here. It's April 13th, 2026, 8:18. Started this recording, stream, whatever you guys want to call it. We had a game yesterday, about 24 hours ago. We had a game at Stamford Bridge. And was it really a game in the second half? It really wasn't. Um, Chelsea lose 3-0 to a rampant Man City team that, honestly speaking, man, it's it's not surprising that we got annihilated in the second half. Like, going into this second half, like the first half wasn't too bad. I mean, they created chances. They were doing, some good things in that first half, actually pressing Man City, forcing them to make mistakes, forcing their center backs, their goalkeeper to make a few mistakes. And that was the opportune time to really capitalize on how Man City were playing. And quite honestly, if the goal that Cucurella does score does stand, I think the game does pan out a little bit differently. But Man City just came out on a mission in the second half, and whatever Pep Guardiola said to these players in the dressing room, this is what's separating um, Man City from the rest of the Premier League clubs. They have a serious manager. They probably have the greatest manager in this generation at the helm, and all of a sudden, you saw Ryan Cherky turn it on. You saw Semenyo turn it on. You saw Doku turn it on. You saw Erling Haaland be a lot more aggressive. You saw Rodri really dictating the play, dictating the pace on the pitch. Nico O'Reilly, who gets the first goal, was consistently popping up in areas that you usually see Mark Cucurella when he's getting forward and he's bombing forward, and he's picking up certain areas. And Nico O'Reilly's goal, a clinical finish with his head, gives Man City the 1-0 lead. And then the second goal, man, how you allow Ryan Cherky to drive past two players. And he's a fantastic footballer, man. I mean, I can't begin to explain how much I was enjoying actually watching Ryan Cherky play yesterday, even though Chelsea were at the detriment of this. He was, for about 15 minutes in the second half, he was absolutely sensational. Driving past players, picking out those awkward passes that are going to tear off your entire back line, and that's how they scored. Like, that's how Mark Gay scored. Ryan Cherky feeds the ball into him, and it goes through three Chelsea players. How that happens, I have no idea. Right? I have no idea how that even happens, but Mark Gay, a center forward's finish perfectly into the bottom left-hand corner, and at 2-0, the game is already done and dusted. But heads continued to drop. Confidence continued to be stripped away from this team. Liam Rosenior once again looking just completely out of his depth. And a lot of people are saying that he's irrelevant. I mean, at this point, it's not that he's just irrelevant. He's not going to make it to the end of the season, because now that they lost to Man City in this fashion, does anybody think that we're going to seriously beat Manchester United next weekend? I don't think that's a possibility. And Chelsea are probably now staring down the barrel of going on a losing run in the Premier League that we have not seen them go on in a very long time. It's crazy, man. And the third goal they score, Robert Sanchez, I just believe the man's confidence is stripped. It's completely gone. Now, he made some decent saves during the game, but his distribution was horrific. Very, very bad. And why the ball was even played into Moises Caicedo in the first place, I don't even know. I mean, you're down 2-0. The last thing you need to be doing is gift wrapping goals to Man City when you're trying to get back into the game. Now, were Chelsea going to get back into the game? I mean, no, they absolutely weren't. But the point is, you're supposed to not concede 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals. At 2-0, at least it's a respectable scoreline that you can walk away from and say, at least we didn't concede 7. But they conceded 3, And the third goal, you play it out to Moises Caicedo. Now, Caicedo is trying to turn back into where he got the ball from, and that's never going to work. When you have a swarm of bees around you on the pitch and there's 5 players around you, you more than likely you're not going to get anything positive out of that scenario. And unfortunately for Moises Caicedo, he loses the ball. Jeremy Doku, a player that I rate, a player that I feel like if this club is serious, they would actually try to convince him, but that's not going to happen. Why the fuck would he want to come to Chelsea at this point, right? Takes the ball off of Caicedo, a nice little left-footed poke into that bottom corner. And honestly, man, it's over. The season's cooked. They're 4 points now back of Liverpool. And the chasing pack in behind them. And this is why, like, losing yesterday, and people really wanted Chelsea to lose yesterday, which I just don't understand, like, the mindset and the thinking of why you would want to lose. Why you would even want to lose that game. I wouldn't want to lose any game, really. But now, when you take a look at the Premier League table, bro, it's a disgrace. And they're over here promoting on the Premier League website about Chelsea versus Man City. That game's not going to, Chelsea versus Man United. That game's not going to mean as much now. It doesn't really matter. Because now, Chelsea now sits 7 points back of Aston Villa and 4 points back of Liverpool. But if you look at the chasing pack, Chelsea are on 46. Sunderland are in 10th on 46 points, man. You can go as far down as 14th. Chelsea are 6 points above 14th place, man. 14th place, Newcastle. It's despicable, bro. Like there's really no excuse. I mean, we saw this result coming. I predicted a crazy result. In my heart, I said Chelsea could win this game 3-2. But my thinking was that at some point, this team has to fucking figure it out. But now I'm starting to come to grips that this team is not going to go anywhere, and they probably won't win another game this season in the league with the way that they're playing. They may even gift wrap Spurs 3 points that they need to stay up. This is how bad we are, and there are some good players in this team. There are some good, there is quality in this squad. To say that we're absolute crap, it's not the worst take anymore. Because even the quality plays that we do have are just looking like they're lost. There's no direction with this club right now. And Liam Rosenior is, for some reason, is still here. But now more than ever, you're seeing this club being just dangled like a puppet. The people that are the faces that are the puppets of this club are in the stuff that is being said in the media. It's just ridiculous. And then you hear stuff about what Liam Rosenior said yesterday about how Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp also had periods in 1 year where they just did not do well, and they were given time. Thomas Tuchel, bro, came in with 6 months with honestly a team that had experience in it and had young players in it. It was a Frank Lampard squad. He took that team and they won the Champions League. Liam Rosenior is nowhere near the same level of Thomas Tuchel, but to compare yourself to or to bring up the examples of Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp and to say that you should be in the same conversation as them is nuts, bro. Pep Guardiola was already a proven winner before he came to Man City. Jurgen Klopp was the manager that won the Bundesliga title with Dortmund, got that Dortmund team to the Champions League final, and honestly made Dortmund one of the, in my opinion, one of the most feared teams in Europe because they were able to go up against anybody in Europe at that time and beat the big boys. I remember when I used to play FIFA and I would choose Chelsea, obviously, right? But I would also choose Dortmund because Dortmund had Marco Reus. They had before he went to Bayern Munich, Lewandowski, Aubameyang. They had players in that squad that were very dangerous, very dangerous. For Liam Rosenior to really say stuff like that is nuts. You're not going to be afforded the same amount of time, mostly because this ownership group doesn't know how to do anything. And now more than ever, this ownership group has to sell. They have to get out. You're sitting up there in the press boxes, in the suites, wherever you're fucking sitting, club level, whatever. You're just there, stone face. For the life of me, you would think that even the Forest manager, what's his name, Marinakis, right? The even with him, yeah, he seems a bit shady. Like if you guys have ever seen the Morgan Gibbs White interview where he's talking to I think a Sky Sports reporter, and you have Marinakis right there, and he's just staring at Morgan Gibbs White like, you better not say like the wrong thing, boy. Like for real, like that's like the kind of vibe that I was getting from it, right? It feels like these owners are just holding this club hostage. They're holding everybody in this club hostage. And I think at some point Chelsea keep losing games the way that they're losing games because now when you really think about it, this team hasn't scored a goal. If you're taking out the Port Vale game, you can like throw that out the window, right? You're looking at 4 straight games without a goal. You got Newcastle at home, PSG at home, Everton away, and now Man City at home. And what is the common theme with this team over the past 4 games where they've been scoreless? 3 of those games have been 3-0 losses, which means they're absolutely getting torn to shreds, which means there's no attack and impotence in this team. When you're goalless in 4 games, because I'm not counting the Port Vale game, you should be putting 7 past them. But if we're looking at the games that actually are serious and that matter, they haven't scored in 4. They have 0 goals, and I believe it's now what? It's 0 goals and conceded 10. And if you really want to go back to the PSG game in the first leg, you can add 5 goals to that. They've scored 2 and have conceded 15. 15 goals, bro. 15 fucking goals, man. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. But again, are we surprised? No. This is worse than the Graham Potter era of Chelsea, bro. And that was a bad and that was our worst season. Now we're 6 points above 14th, bro. I said we were going to finish 9th. There's a possibility we may finish damn near the bottom of the fucking table. This is what happens when you have owners that have no idea what they're doing. They're sacking managers because they're speaking out on what's going on at the club. You sack probably the best manager you've had in this project because he wants just some type of help in the transfer market, and he wanted a bit more leeway and control with what players came in and out, and let him choose his own lineups. Because we were not this bad under Enzo Maresca, and people still want to shit on the guy. It's like we weren't this bad, not even close. This is worse than Graham Potter, bro. And with Graham Potter, at least we had some type of experienced players in there. There's no experience in the squad. So where is the running form going to come from? Nowhere. Your club captain's out. Your best center half is still out. Your best player, your number 10, is still missing in action. Where's everybody who was saying that we're better without Enzo Fernandez? Where are you guys at this morning? Caicedo didn't have a good game either. Andre Santos did not have a good game and is responsible for the first goal. Where's all my Andre Santos? Where's all my defenders for him? I'm looking for you guys. I'm just trying to figure out these questions. I'm criticizing players because of their performances. Nothing with them personally. But the performances are a direct result of where the ownership's minds are, and the ownership and the owners don't care. And it's trickling down to the players, and these players are starting not to care. I'm being serious. Where are all the people that said we were better without Enzo Fernandez? I think, and we heard it in the commentary. We've heard it all week leading up to this game. Was it really necessary to suspend a guy that was asked a question about his living preferences? Because the week prior, he spoke on about how the sacking of Enzo Maresca completely affected the dressing room. But he got suspended for his comments about living in Madrid. It's ridiculous, bro. So I mean, it's over with now. He's basically back in the team. Probably will be reintegrated back into the starting role because honestly, you can tell there was a missing void in that team yesterday. Even in the first half, where we did have moments where we did play well, you could tell we were just missing that extra piece of quality in that midfield area. Andre Santos is a decent midfielder, but defensively, to allow Nico O'Reilly to this is my problem, is that even in the game against Burnley where we conceded, right? Who was man marking? Fleming. It was supposed to be Andre Santos. He doesn't track runners, and when you're a central midfielder, one of your defensive roles has to be tracking your runners. This is why you see a lot of midfielders make late runs into the box unmarked, because what is the common thing that you see there? Central midfielders or defensive midfielders sometimes won't track their runners. Caicedo's also been guilty of this a few times, right? But Andre Santos, twice this season, we have seen runners just go straight past him, not tracking runners, not being strong enough in the air. Now, he's not the most physical player, but you got to do something better there with the Nico O'Reilly goal, bro. You have to be a bit more physical with that, right? At least throw him off balance just a little bit, so then even if he makes connection with his head, he's still able. Robert Sanchez is still able to at least try to make a save on it because he's more off balance and he's more out of control of his body. So, but for me, man, this team, the players are now showing they're not good enough to really be a part of a 38 game season. They're just not. And it's really scaring me where this club is heading now, right? We don't know how the season will finish. I said they're finishing 9th, but at this point, they may finish lower than 12th. And who would have said at the start of the season Chelsea would finish 13th or 14th in the Premier League? It's a real possibility. I'm not saying that for clicks and views. I'm saying that because it's a real possibility. And, now people are starting to come to grips that what I was saying last week and a few weeks ago, this team is going to finish outside of Europe. outside of those European spots. And even if they do get into Europe, they don't deserve it. But again, Chelsea, and I can't even talk right now. It really pains me that this team is continuing to find new and different ways to shoot itself in the foot. And it's like, I'm not even talking about the board at this point, because we all know that's not going to change until we do something next on Saturday with the protest, and we'll see if that's going to create some type of movement with them selling the club and finding a buyer. But when I peel away from that and I just look at how the team is looking on the field, it's really sad to see that a team that was so full of confidence at the start of the season and over the summer, not even a year ago, are finding themselves mentally shot and just destroyed physically. They just look like an absolute shell of themselves. Now, I can guarantee when these players go to the World Cup, all of a sudden they're going to look like better players because they're not around a chaotic, toxic mess at the club, man. But, you know, Como have the second most goals in Italy, fewest goals conceded, best defenses in Europe, play quality football. If Fabregas is not a Chelsea manager next year, I might have to call it a day. I would like for you to call it a day on Twitter, honestly, but he should. I feel like if this club ever does become serious again, I would go after him. I would, I would go after him. You have to, in my opinion. But if we can, okay, I thought that was the official page. I'm like, no way. Who is the worst Chelsea coach of all time? Right now, it's proving to be Liam Rossini. I don't think Frank Lampard, because at least because Frank Lampard in his first season got us top four with the transfer ban, and nobody had Chelsea. And I think that was the COVID season too. Nobody had Chelsea in the top four. But if we can just touch on Man City, man, like I do want to give them their praise and their credit and their everything, bro. Manchester City look like they just look exceptional, man. Like when they're flowing and when they actually link up their passes and stuff like that, they're putting balls in the box, they're scoring goals, they're dictating the play. Jeremy Doku's out here driving at the fullbacks consistently. Rodri dictating like the entire midfield basically by himself. Bernardo Silva at 30, 31, 32 years old is still out here balling, bro. Ryan Sharkey is looking like he's going to be one of the great Premier League creators that this league has seen. Man City are going to catch Arsenal. At this point, they're going to catch Arsenal. They're going to beat them at the Etihad. And then the game in hand is against Burnley. You can chalk up another 3 points there. By the time that we get to, I think, just after Chelsea plays Spurs, we're going to see, I think by the time we hit May, Man City will be back at the top of the table, and Man City will push on to win the Premier League. Arsenal, I think their opportunity to clinch it was last weekend. Not mathematically, but just psychologically. I think if they would have won against Bournemouth, I think psychologically, even with Man City having a game in hand, I think it would have been too much for them to even overcome. But now that they lost and Man City beat Chelsea yesterday, yeah, Man City, I think now will jump Arsenal. And I think next week at the Etihad will be a Man City may end up really humbling Arsenal, because Arsenal also have to prioritize the Champions League. And I read something this morning about how Arteta may not play the strongest team against Sporting at the Emirates. You know how dangerous that actually is? Because you can't go out because the one thing psychologically and mentally that this Arsenal team cannot allow to happen is they can't lose the Sporting at home and then go to Manchester and then mentally think that they're going to be ready to go beat this Man City team right now. It's not going to happen. Like the prospect that Arsenal can walk away with absolutely nothing this season is crazy. But are we surprised? Are we surprised? No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't be surprised. If they walk away with no silverware again this season, what is so surprising about that? They haven't shown they can win it. So what is so surprising about it? But if they do, congratulations. You finally got it done. You guys finally got it done. Good for you guys. But at the end of the day, man, Arsenal are in a world of trouble. They are in an absolute world of trouble, man. This is the fifth game where Chelsea fans have left before full time. Instead of leaving early, why can't they just stop going to the games? I mean, I just feel like it's hard for like a lot of these because I think the money they're paying for one and two, I just think like they still feel the connection of the old Chelsea, man. I think that's why. But I've always said that they should just vacate their seats for like maybe even for a half. Just don't have anybody in the seats for a half. But even then, we saw what Lazio did. They're not doing like the full games. They're just not going to home games, but away games they are because it's not going to the owners' pockets. Genuinely would rather Europa League next year for Chelsea than Champions League at Champong. I mean, at this point, it's like Europa League will probably be the saving grace for this season. Right now, they're in that spot, but the only two options there would be the FA Cup and then in sixth. I don't know, man. Chelsea have lost 3 in a row without scoring for the first time since March 1998. Chelsea have not kept a clean sheet in the league since January. Chelsea have lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League matches. Chelsea have 2 wins in their last 7. Yeah, it's a very poor run of form. Who's the flop of the season? Liam Delap. Probably Liam Delap and Liam Delap and honestly, I'm gonna say Pedro Neto. So Thomas Tuchel lasted 106 days under this ownership. Graham Potter lasted 206. Salvatore the caretaker 4 days. Lampard interim 85. Pochettino 325 days. Enzo Maresca 549 days. Callum McFarlane 5 days. Liam Rossinian 96. Reminder: the sporting directors got new deals until 2031. It's just crazy, bro. How did Rossinian do this initially? I mean, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. If we really go back and we analyze these games right here, this stretch of games, I would probably say maybe outside of the Napoli game, Chelsea and Brentford, that game was very tight. Honestly, it was very tight. Paphos versus Chelsea, we for some reason we made that game very difficult on ourselves, but we got the result. Chelsea versus Palace, for the first 30 minutes, it wasn't it was a very boring and dull game. We weren't creating anything. We went 3-1, great, but we should be going to Palace, and we always go there and get some type of result. The only game where I say where they showed I mean, yeah, Chelsea versus West Ham, but we played horrific in the first half. And we didn't have a great first half either against Napoli. This team has been a team of moments. The idea that they played well for 90 minutes at any point this season, maybe outside of the Aston Villa game, that's the only time this season that I've seen them play a complete 90 minutes, even under Enzo Maresca. But the difference with Enzo Maresca was that the bad performances were few and far in between. Chelsea were very annoying to play against when Enzo Maresca was there, but it's just me. That's just me. But how did he manage this? New manager bounce. That's it. Chelsea lined up at City with 2 January signings, Antoine Semenyo and Margay, who Chelsea ruled out trying to sign on salary grounds. Yeah, man. Craziness, right? Chelsea are pushing to sign Morgan Rogers this summer. The Blues have already contacted 23-year-old reps. And I'll be real. No player is gonna come out here, bro. No player is gonna come out here, man, and actually like no player, honestly, man, is going to come out here and sign for this club. I don't think Morgan Rogers is coming. I don't think anybody's coming to the club this summer, bro. With what money? Unless we sell Enzo. With what money are we gonna go get Morgan Rogers? Would I love to have him? Absolutely. I think he's a great player. I think he's a really good player, man. But at the same time, I just think there's other priorities we need in the team outside of just trying to get like the next big English talent. That's just me. Like, I'm so like mentally, bro. The game yesterday really just shot me a little bit. And it's not because of, I expected Chelsea to lose this game. In my head, I said in my preview that Man City would win this game 2-1, but I felt like if Chelsea did show up, Chelsea could win this game 3-2. But looking back at it now, it's really just a matter of getting these owners out. And you just get somebody in there that actually knows what they're doing. I don't think this team is as bad as what people say. I just think that their confidence and they're just mentally shot. Like, I really think that's what's going on. Because Enzo Maresca had the same group of players, and a lot of people were not saying we were crap at that time. They're saying we're crap now because who the manager is and what is being pushed out through PR and what these players are saying on the international break, exposing what's going on at the club because they're tired of how shit is being ran. They're tired of how there's a possibility now that their wages are going to get slashed without Champions League. It's crazy, bro. You want the best players to come to your club. You're gonna need to be ambitious, And you're going to need to pay them what they feel like they deserve, honestly. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not signing players because of wages, but you have the money to go to complete the transfer fee, they're already telling you they don't want to win. But you win silverware, you win major honors, you get more money. And the bigger sponsors are going to come in and want to sign with you long term because they see the consistency that you're winning, for one, and two, you're constantly in the spotlight by being in the position to win something. These owners, you would think people that are fucking billionaires would know stuff like this, but they don't. They don't care. They just care about how much money can we make outside of the sport that we happen to just own a club in. It's crazy to me, bro. It's really crazy, man. I don't know, man. I just want this club. I just want my club back, bro. It's so frustrating not being able to see Chelsea play well is crazy, bro. Like it sucks. It really does suck. This is for everyone asking to change a model. They can't. I hope you get it now. They've lost. So it says per the latest audited accounts, 22 Holdco has lost 47 million per month since Blueco has been there. That is 1.78 billion in accumulated losses in just over. That's insane, dude. That's crazy, bro. And the guy signing it, man. Unreal, bro. PSG put 8 past Chelsea in 2 games. Man City put 3 past us. Everton put 3 past Chelsea. Wrexham put 2 past Chelsea. Wrexham. All the space, all in the space of a month. This is honestly disgusting, and everyone involved should be embarrassed. Yeah, man. I'll make it even worse for you, Con. I'll make it even worse for you, bro. You take out the Port Vale game, like I mentioned earlier. They've scored 2. Because I'm not even putting Wrexham in that category, bro. Since the PSG game, right? Where I mean Wrexham was bad too, but PSG away. You lose 5-2. Since that point, you've conceded 15 goals, man. 2 goals scored, 15 conceded. And people really think this team can find a way to get into the Champions League. They're miles off it, bro. They're miles off it. In a year where Liverpool are an absolute shadow of themselves, in a year where the chasing pack is looking like they're severely catching up to everybody, this was a season where you thought Chelsea would really push on, bro. But it just never materialized because you know I'm gonna keep on going down to this. You sack Enzo Maresca, that completely changed the outlook of the entire season. He had a bad run of form. He had a bad stretch of games last season too, but he figured it out and he turned it around. You shouldn't have sacked him. Misguided anger. The time to be angry at their manager has been over years ago. I mean, you're right. I mean, there is nothing that we can really say about Liam Rossini anymore. All I can really say about the guy is this: the Chelsea job has come for him like maybe 7 or 8 years too early, bro. Maybe even 10 years too early. Because like, if I can criticize Liam Rossini on one thing, there's no belief in what you say. And I think these players understood that the minute that you walked in the door. When your players don't believe in you, you're cooked. You're already cooked. So again, Liam Rossini, man, I don't think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna be the manager at the start of next season because I think it's gonna get worse. And I think Chelsea are gonna continue to lose games that I'm still gonna find a way to watch somehow. And they're gonna end up mid-table. And I think at that point, depending how far off you are from even a European spot, because I think the only thing that saves Liam Rossini's job is if they win the FA Cup. But are they going to beat Leeds at Wembley at right now? No, I don't think right now. I don't think we beat Leeds at Wembley. Like as of right now, on current form, yeah, Leeds might walk all over us, and they're 15th in the Premier League. 15th. It's a shame. This tells you everything you need to fucking know, bro. Game week 13, Chelsea were on 24 points. Game week 32, they're on 48. They've doubled their points in 19 weeks, right? But in that same period of time, they've won 6 games in the Premier League since that point. In 19 weeks, you've won 6 games. It makes me sick, bro. It makes me sick. In the background, guys, I got some Super Mario Galaxy jazz music. Some pretty good shit, man. I saw the Mario Galaxy movie. Was it last weekend? Last Sunday on Easter? It's a it's a good movie. If you guys have kids, anything like that, go take your kids to go see that. It's a really enjoyable movie. I love Super Mario, honestly. So it was really great to just go and like take my daughter and my and my girl too. It was really nice. Yeah, I'll be real. When he had that run yesterday, I felt like he should have just passed it to us about. He overcomplicated it. Yeah, you got to play that out wide. Yeah, and I think that is like the correct segue to talk about Cole Palmer, bro. We need to have an uncomfortable conversation about Cole Palmer. And I'm not really a fan of doing this, and I'm gonna go to my full screen here for this, man, because I'm not really a fan of doing this. But just give me 1 second. I need to check on my dogs real quick. All right. It is time to have the uncomfortable conversation about Cole Palmer. So the guy came to the club in what 2023, 24, after our worst season we've ever had in the Premier League. And his first season scored 22 goals and was absolutely sensational. Nobody expected him to come to Chelsea and do what he did, drag us to a European spot, drag us to sixth place. And we were exceptional towards the end of that season. It was really enjoyable. The game that I remember the most in that run was Forest away, where we score first. They score like maybe I think like 10, 15 minutes after. Then in the second half, they take the lead. Callum Hudson-Odoi, fantastic goal. Right? And then Sterling scores literally, I think, like 2-3 minutes later, and then Reece James gets fed the ball down that right wing. A beautiful cross to Nico Jackson, who I think at this point a lot of Chelsea fans do miss. And they scored. They win the game 3-2, and Forest was still in the relegation scrap at that point. But the point that I'm making here is that we haven't seen Cole Palmer really since the Club World Cup over the summer last year. And he's been an absolute shell of himself since he's come back from injury in January. Now, he missed a good portion of the first half of the season, a very big chunk of it. He only played in one Champions League game against Bayern Munich in 2025. And he played against Brentford, played against a few other teams, but he didn't look like himself really. Now we're in April, and he's been back from injury now for about 2.5 to 3 months, and he has been an absolute disgrace. And wearing that number 10 jersey, I'm gonna be honest, bro. You're honestly disrespecting it. And we've had exceptional players wear that jersey, and you are an exceptional player. You're my favorite player on the team for a reason, bro. Because the craftiness, the silkiness, and the just the IQ that he does have when he's actually in form is insane. And I think he's England's best player when everything is going right. But I think there's going to be times where he's going to need to be dropped just to save the entire season, because the season's already cooked. You don't want to fall even deeper. His play is not helping us. We saw the clip and we saw the game yesterday where Palmer is driving the counterattack, and he has two options. He has Pedro Neto on one side and he has Esteval on the other. Now, realistically, if he's looking at both of his options and he sees that there's Pedro Neto and there's Esteval on one side, your head's going to tell you, I'm going to pass it to Esteval, probably because he's more likely to create something when he gets the ball, for one, and two, he had so much space in front of him that if Palmer looks to his right and he even sees like the gap that was there, he can play the pass if he really wanted to into Esteval's path. And Esteval at that point probably gets a shot on goal, and Donnarumma has to do something with that shot. And we don't know how that outcome would have honestly came. I think at this point, Cole Palmer needs to be dropped. If we're dropping Enzo Fernandez for comments he makes outside off the pitch, then why can't we drop players for their performances on the pitch? Why can't Cole Palmer get dropped? Why can't he sit on the bench for a game, 2 games? It's not like Chelsea are going to get into the Champions League at this point. Chelsea are going to miss Europe altogether, unless they win the FA Cup and they sneak into the Europa League. But even then, Chelsea aren't going to win the FA Cup at this point. They're not going to get a European spot. I think you need to drop Cole Palmer. I think you really do. And I hate saying that about my favorite player on the team, but you have to do it. Like you absolutely have to. freaking back is killing me a little bit. Ugh. But you gotta drop. You. I think you have to drop him. Like I want to know from people watching or anything like that, man. Like, would you guys drop Cole Palmer right now, even though there's still something to fight for this season? I would. He just hasn't been good, and I just think at some point people need to really like come to grips that his head's not there anymore. I don't know, man. I'm just honestly in a loss for words, bro. Like it's really hard to talk about how bad this team has gotten over the past few months, man. It's really sad. But if we're gonna go ahead and get away from Chelsea, honestly, I do want to talk about Arsenal a little bit. Arsenal lost to Bournemouth at the weekend, 2-1. Alex Scott gets the game winner. Ironically, a player named Alex Scott beats Arsenal. But are they gonna bottle it, bro? Like, are they gonna actually bottle the Premier League? I was saying this because now that Man City beat Chelsea, they play Arsenal next week at home. Arsenal, I think, are going to bottle it at this point, and I think now more than ever. I think if Arsenal don't win the Premier League, I think Arsenal might make one of the most drastic decisions they've had to make in the past 10, 15 years. And I think they might get rid of, and I think they might sack Arteta. If they don't get it done and they drop and they go out in the Champions League and they don't win if they don't win any silverware, I think he's out. I think they might sack him, bro. It's my opinion because I think Arsenal at this point are tired of finishing second and they're tired of not winning anything under this manager. And it's like if Arsenal get a serious manager, like could you imagine a scenario where they get like an Enzo Maresca, who I think is a better manager than Arteta, and that's not the wildest take to have. Enzo Maresca's already won more. Like he's already won more than Arteta's won. So it's not the craziest take. Like Oliver Glasner has won the same amount of trophies as Arteta. I think Oliver Glasner is a better manager than Arteta. I don't care where Crystal Palace are actually sitting right now. I don't really care about that. I've seen Oliver Glasner beat this Arsenal team in the FA Cup before. I've seen it. So, that's a manager I would like Chelsea to go for if they're serious. Get him a better squad of players around her. I'm pretty sure he can figure it out. Enzo Maresca did better work than what Lee Mercini is doing. He just is. I was gonna do so. There was a few things I wanted to do here before I get off, honestly, because I don't think I'm gonna stream too long. I got to take care of some stuff around the house, honestly. Actually, yeah, guys, honestly, I'm gonna probably end the stream right here for about 20, 30 minutes, and I'll probably jump back on here. I need to handle some stuff around the house real quick before people get home. I got some stuff I have to do with my daughter later. So I'll be back on here maybe about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I'll see what else has popped off. But I just wanted to give my reactions to Man City and Chelsea yesterday. I mean, it was just an absolute embarrassment. But with that being said, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll probably have some stuff uploaded and stuff like that. I might do a regular video instead of coming back on stream because I want to talk about a few things at the club without a live audience. So yeah, I will see you guys later. I'll talk to you guys soon.